Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freaks with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode is about one particular movie, and we'll get to that movie in a little bit. But first, I just want to thank you all for voting in the latest Film Freaks fan vote. The movies were listed in Discord, and people voted on them. It was a bit shorter than usual because I was sick this week, and I totally forgot to upload the episode, and then it was late, and then it was just all just a falling downstairs incident. But it's done. The votes are in, and we'll reveal the movie that won at the end of this episode. But first, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm here with...
Brady Waffles.
Damation.
Ray of Positivity, and...
Bad Dot.
There you go.
Yes, that's right.
Welcome.
Special guest.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to join the gang.
For the people at home who maybe don't know, who are you and why are you here?
I'm a really bad introducer.
Yeah, who are you?
Who are you?
I go by Bad Dot. That's where you find me on Twitch and things like that. And I am Ray's fiance.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it's Ray of Positivity and Bad Dot.
Yeah.
Bad Dot Brown. Or Bad Brown.
Brown.
Yeah.
well, they say the opposite contract,
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's definitely an option.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Well,
I agree with Dot there though.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Everything's bad.
Oh, who's hating that? No, I'm kidding.
Well, we're having a battle of haters right now. Is Tay the bigger hater or is Greedy the bigger hater? Find out by the end of the episode.
Or just cast your vote in the comments.
Yeah,
Yes.
cast a vote.
Yeah,
And
vote
Callus
down
is
below.
excluded from voting.
Oh, okay.
I think we can let Callus vote. That's fine.
Callus will vote for like me.
You say that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guess who's hating on somebody by not letting them vote?
Ooh.
Ayo.
That's true.
Well, how is everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing well.
Oh
Doing
yeah.
all right. Doing all right.
Yeah. Trying
Happy
to
New
reset.
Year's to
Oh
everybody.
yeah.
Happy New Year's to everybody listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reset my sleep schedule again, as always. So I've been awake for almost 24 hours now.
Wow.
Gross.
Wow.
All right.
In
Alrighty.
the
Terrible.
twilight hours. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I took 2 days. So in total, I've had 6 days off in a row because Christmas Eve, Christmas, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday. I have been sick since Thursday night.
Oh, it sucks.
So
Yeah.
my extended fun weekend got turned into I'm bedridden and I'm coughing and I don't know what it is. It's not COVID, but I don't know what it is. But I couldn't do anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going around. I had I took the whole week off. I started feeling a little, that like painful throat, like scratchiness. I was like, oh gosh, it's coming, isn't it? And then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I felt pretty bad.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I know. I had some friends get hit with something as well, like the night or Christmas Day, they got hit with it.
Yeah, definitely going
Jeez.
around.
Yeah.
Flu A and B are going around really bad right now, and the stomach flu. So
Yeah.
wash your hands.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Wear masks if you're going
Yep.
out.
I'm sure everyone will listen to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into the movie. Ray, why don't you introduce it for us?
Alrighty. So I chose Soul, Pixar Soul from 2020. And the premise of it is Joe being a middle school band teacher whose life hasn't quite gone the way he expected, with his true passion being jazz. But when he travels to another realm to help someone find their passion, he soon discovers what it means to have a soul. Directors Pete Docter, Kent Powers. Writers Pete Docter, Mike Jones, Kent Powers. starring Jamie Foxx, Tina Fey, and Graham Norton. This movie, if for one, did not get the love it deserved at first because it was a straight to stream type movie.
Right out, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So.
And it did flop, but it won so many awards that year. Oh my god, I love this movie so much. I think it won 2 Academy Awards. I forgot to bring it on.
I'm guessing one of them was for soundtrack.
2, yeah. They won 2
Graphics.
Oscars. Hold on a second, I just lost it.
Well, one was definitely animated.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant by graphics.
Oh,
That's a better word to use for the correct term.
They had 125 wins of different types of like awards, 94 nominations, and in there they won 2 Academy Awards. And they were a nominee for Best Sound, but they won for Best Animated Feature and Best Achievement in Music, like original score. So
yeah. I remember after watching this movie the first time back in 2020, I have a playlist I've created on Spotify that I just call my sleep playlist, and I just put it on before I fall asleep. And not every night, but some nights. And after seeing this movie, like I immediately went and added 2 songs from this movie to that playlist because I'm just like they're good.
They're amazing. I could not do that. This movie makes me so emotional. I have yet to watch it and not cry. And he's a good attest to that because I was holding back sobs when we watched it. So
okay, it kind of sounds like you're holding back sobs thinking about it.
I honestly could I can't watch I'll have IMDb up just to remember the director and stuff, and I can't watch the trailer without tearing up. So yikes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's nice that a movie can have such a reaction from you.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's the power of cinema.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that ironically. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to emote with my voice right now because my congestion, but I'm being sincere. I think that it's awesome that a movie can elicit such a response. I know that the first time I watched it, I did get emotional. This latest time watching it, I got more emotional just because of events that have happened in my life this year, and it's a very powerful movie, especially at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When this movie came out, I was going through a really, really hard time. And I can't remember if it was this one I watched on my birthday or if it was a different one, but I watched it thinking this is going to be really pretty about jazz, and it's going to be musical, and it's just going to be very lighthearted. And that was my stupid mistake because it's Pixar, and there is absolutely nothing lighthearted about Pixar. They are in there to absolutely captivate your emotional strings and tear you up.
They lay it on thick.
Yeah. So this movie broke me and healed me in so many ways that I can't even describe. And even now, watching it when you're in a deep depression and you don't really feel like you're going to make it or that there is any reason to go on, and then you see all the little things. I'm trying not to cry. You see all the little things in this movie that make life actually worth living, and I still to this day think about the little things because of this movie, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great moment when Joe is remembering why 22, everything that she was experiencing, the helicopter falling into her hands, and the pizza, the tasteless pizza, and the wind beneath her feet. It is very it's kind of like a montage, I guess, but it's a very touching montage of those things. And I some people might complain but you just saw these things in the movie, so why do you need to remind you? Well, I don't know. It's a nice refresher because it's the entire movie, or at least that section of the movie kind of summed up like, hey, if because I don't think a lot of people are thinking of it like that. They're kind of in the same mindset as Joe, where it's like, oh, this is just people stuff. This is just stuff that we all take for granted sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it was a nice refresher to be like, oh, look at it from a different perspective, where it's like, oh, it's experiencing the small things and making them into big things, like being good at walking or being good at I forget what some of the other things she said, but yeah, being good at walking and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. Well, in this movie, especially like towards the beginning, and I feel like it's definitely a millennial thing. Just the whole like, I can't really follow my dreams. I'm doing this job that I pretty much hate, but that's just how it has to be. And then he suddenly gets a break and he could get this thing. But in my mind, I'm thinking, dude, just do both.
Right?
Get that 401k and whatever, and health insurance and everything. And then you just gotta do nights for the jazz club. You could do both.
Yeah. It'd be hard, but you could.
Yeah, you could do it. I mean, granted, I wish we lived in a country where you didn't have to worry about health insurance and stuff, but
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that would
Here
be
we
nice. But yeah, like I said, it is a very relatable, I think, especially for millennials. Just like, oh yeah, I know how this is. This is me.
Yeah, throughout the movie, I was like, man, this is a child's movie?
Right.
Because I was like, a child is not going to understand all this.
No.
Very dark at times, too.
Yeah, like the Lost Souls. Like, how relatable is that now in your 30s?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the Lost Souls, like, I don't know, like, I feel like it could have been handled a little better. Like, I don't know, just, I guess, like, the one time you really see it, it's just, like, some stockbroker or whatever, when he's just like, what am I doing? It's like, yeah, I guess that, but whatever. I don't know.
Well,
like that.
I see the Lost Soul as like, it's almost like that montage from like SpongeBob where the guy's like going to work, he's in his car, he goes to work, he eats dinner, goes to bed,
just going through those motions.
It's like the Lost Soul is kind of like, oh, you're not really there, you're just kind of going through the motions, you're doing the same thing every day.
I get that's what they were going for, and like,
and losing your passion. You're losing your passion.
Yeah, you lose your passion, and like, as you know, I know at least two of us here have suffered from depression, if not more. And it's like, I get that, but like, I feel like for me at least, when I had depression, it wasn't necessarily. I guess it kind of started that way, where it's just like I've lost my passion for what I was doing, and it just kind of escalated. So even when I stopped doing, working in that field, like, I was still depressed. And I don't know, I feel like they could have shown that a little better. It's like, well, these people, they're so lost that like they're not just sitting at work hitting buttons. They're lost. Like, they're at home doing nothing, kind of thing. But I don't know, maybe that's too depressing for a kid's movie.
Well, it's hard.
And then you nailed it.
Yeah, well, then you missed the whole scene of the guy going crazy in the office and destroying everyone's desks.
I love that part so much.
Oh yeah, we've all wanted to do that.
Yeah, I guess that's where the movie's like, well, does it want to be an adult movie or does it want to be a kid movie? Because it hits all the topics, but maybe it doesn't take the time, or care is the wrong word, but it doesn't take the time to flesh out every point it hits, but it does hit multiple cylinders.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm about to say, like, I think one thing that probably could have constrained that is time, because of like, I think if they would have had, the freedom, or I guess if their model of movies isn't set in the same kind of like similar time frame, they had like another 45 minutes or so to throw at it. I think they could have hinted at that more, because like you have that moment where after Joe gets that gig and performs that night, he has that conversation with Dorothea where he's like, I thought it'd feel different. And she get that metaphor about, the fish going up and saying like, I'm looking for the ocean, and another fish saying like, this is the ocean. And they're saying, no, like it's just water. Because I think like there's something powerful in understanding that just because something is what you love to do, for Joe, it was music and jazz performing, you can still do that and realize it's empty, because that's, as the movie kind of was trying to say, like, what you're good at isn't necessarily what your purpose is. And I think had it had time to really explore that, I think they could have explored this idea of you can be a lost soul while still following and living out your talents and your gifts and the things that you're passionate about, because that's not necessarily your purpose.
Agreed.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you.
No. Thanks for bringing him on. He cleared that up for us. No, yeah, I'd obviously, runtime affects it, and wanting to kind of tiptoe around these adult themes, since it is a kids movie.
Yeah, that's the funny thing though. Like I watching this, I didn't even think about it as a kids movie.
Yeah,
for 95% of it, I was like, no, this is definitely geared towards a grown-up audience. I mean, you can kind of see with Pixar's filmography is that they go from like the young kids stuff with the Toy Stories and Cars and whatnot, and then they kind of get into that older demographic where it's like Toy Story 3 and blah blah blah, and now they're kind of they did go in this direction before Elemental came out, but it's like, oh, okay, we're in like the older territory where it's like people who have grown up with Pixar are now watching this movie, and they're in their 30s, and they're wondering how to spend their time between their passion and what they need to do to just live.
Yeah. I would say even Elemental was more adult than kid movie.
I guess
I've not seen it.
Like it's like 20-year-olds.
Yeah, I mean that would
like,
definitely.
It's like a young adult. It's young adult at the very least.
Yeah, they definitely went backwards with like. I didn't like Elemental. I mean, I gave it like an average 3 out of 5 score, but
I thought it was fine.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's average. It's fine, but it's nothing special. Like you can like maybe say like the character designs would lift it up, but I didn't even like the character designs in the movie. I thought the character designs were awful. But this movie, the Soul, I think that I wish that there was more of like this animated New York aesthetic in the movie, because like when they hit you with New York like midway through the movie, because 22 gets put into Joe's body, it's like, damn, this is like they captured New York, I don't know, perfectly, but pretty well. Like the crowds of people, the bustling streets, the cars going back and forth, all the sound design going into the movement in the streets and in the subway, and it really feels like you're there. And I was like, you kind of miss that for like the first part of the movie, because Joe dies in like the first 5 minutes. Spoiler alert. He falls down.
What?
He falls into the sewer, and he's on life support. But you kind of forget that like the movie is set in reality, because he turns into that soul character very early on, and they kind of smack you in the face with like, and here's New York. Forget about it, and they go.
Although I will say, like, I really liked like how they, I guess, depicted the pre-life, like this weird abstract, like, just existence. You got these creatures that are based on like Native American like hieroglyphics or whatever, but like I don't even know how to describe it. Like they fold over themselves, and like
abstract is perfect.
It
gave me real Picasso vibes.
Yeah.
No, I think I think the design of the pre-life and even the elevator to whatever the afterlife was in the movie, I think that it's all designed very well. And I'm not saying that they should. Yeah, I'm not saying that they should take that out by any means. I'm just saying like the New York is really where. Yeah. I was like, oh damn!
It felt like the pre-life stuff was like the only section of the movie that was geared towards kids.
Yeah.
Because it's just bright colors and look at all these silly creatures and souls, I guess, running around, and
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln.
Those parts were so funny, though.
Yeah, there was a lot of those quirky parts that I liked.
I can't even think of, like, to be honest with you, like, I can't think of. There aren't any prominent like child things in this. You have the one 12-year-old or whatever, who gets lost in the trombone solo early on and doesn't quit trombone later on. But really, like this like really feels geared towards adults. Like, I don't think children are in this place where they need to relearn how to appreciate the small things in life, because they already do. Right?
Yeah.
Like, we as adults need to learn how to appreciate that.
I think the 12-year-old was kind of a good example of that. Like, she was like, "Oh yeah, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. This is stupid," and then gets right back into it.
Yeah,
Because like
exactly.
that is a kid's mind. Like, you hate something one minute, and the next minute it's your favorite thing in the whole wide world, and it's not that easy when you grow up.
You know what that scene needed, though? We should have just jumped inside her head and seen her emotions. Just tie in in and out with this.
Seeing her lost in the zone too. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
It's the PCU.
Exactly. I mean, there's already theories that all the movies are like connected in some way.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't see the pizza truck in this one. I missed it.
Oh.
I didn't look for it.
Yeah, those
Aw.
pizza truck? Where?
Every Pixar.
Well,
movie
there's
has
always
the,
like a
has the
Pizza
pizza
Planet
truck.
I mean,
truck.
there was
Yeah.
pizza in the movie, but
I feel
True.
like one of those shots with all the cars would have had it.
I'm sure it
but
did.
I missed it.
it was probably in the back, very far back.
Yeah.
Barely can see it.
Where's the YouTube thumbnail red circle? We need that in the movie.
Yeah,
That's what I
pretty
was
much.
just thinking. Like, we could probably find a YouTube video real quick.
Where's the
Let's go on Twitter
where's
right
the
now.
pogging face and the the arrow, the big red arrow?
Yeah.
That's true. I think this movie and then like Inside Out are the only ones that I haven't looked for like those Easter eggs, and it's probably because I'm sobbing too hard.
Yeah. I'll say I have
Is it watery?
Yeah.
Your vision's
I
already
don't-
blurry enough. You can't.
Yeah.
I don't think about that stuff while watching the movies. It's not until later that I was like, oh yeah, I guess I could have tried to find that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking about that stuff when I watch them usually, but it's one of those things where it's like when I see it, it's like, oh, hey, that's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And looking for those kind of stuff, it's like after watching it a couple times, and not like your first time or your second time. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, there's people who go
it's
to the
after like
theater
your fifth time,
and they're
yeah.
like combing the desert, not even really even watching the movie. They're just trying to find that Easter egg so that like when when they get home and record a video for YouTube, they could be like, I saw the pizza truck. I saw it, I swear. Foaming at the mouth, I love Pizza Planet.
Does Pizza Planet exist in the soul in the verse?
That would that
It
would
should. It's New
wait,
York.
Did he get the pizza from Pizza Planet?
I don't
That's
think
what,
so.
yeah, I was thinking. I was like, maybe it's a pizza from Pizza Planet.
I think it wasn't just like a pizza cart on the street or something.
I'm sure there's a conspiracy theory out there about it.
Yeah.
They
It
stole
was
the
a Pizza
recipe.
Planet pizza cart. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Oh yeah, maybe.
There's no other pizza that could bring someone, back from the edges like that.
That's
Just like
true.
Pizza
That's
Planet.
True.
Right, yeah.
Sponsored.
This is not an ad.
Yeah.
I swear. Do not go to Disney World and go to Pizza Planet. This is not an ad. But if you do go,
Yeah.
we
Mention us by
recommend
name.
using the code DOT.
Yeah.
Yeah, code
Enjoy
That's right.
15% off. What did you guys think of Moonwind though? Like in general?
fun.
Oh,
There it is.
Moonwind was the hippie guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boat captain.
I really enjoyed that his happy place was spinning the sign on the side. of the
Right.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the fact that he was like in New York.
I found the thumbnail with the circle.
Hey,
Oh.
let's go.
It was on in the pre-existence in the Hall of Everything.
Oh, look, not even what we thought.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Pizza Planet can give you the spark too. Yeah.
Well,
But
So all the fake pizza they were eating up there was from the Pizza Planet. They got it catered from up there.
they say it's better than Italy.
Yeah.
Going to Italy, yeah. But yeah, I liked the sign twirling was really fun, and I liked his big pirate ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
I knew you'd like the pirate ship, Yummy.
But of course,
Where did he get the pirate ship though?
because he's just so good at existential experiences.
I mean, so were his crewmates, but they didn't.
They
make
were
the
more
boat.
followers,
That was just the band.
Yeah, it seemed like they were the actual gurus, and he was just a amateur guru who was just better than everybody. He had the spark of being a guru.
Maybe
He had the ship. So
Yeah.
To tap into my full greedy here, that's the one thing about it that I didn't really love. Was I know. It just everything else had such a realistic or like a real thing that could be like grounded to like real life, except this idea that we could enter the flow and then communicate with any other human on the planet that was also in the flow. It was kind of like that was one like part that kind of took me out of like the groundedness, the tangible connection to my life of the whole thing. I think of course, fun character. Wish she was featured a bit more, to be honest. But just that concept to me was kind of like,
Yeah.
it's definitely a kid's concept.
Yeah.
You're saying I can't own a pirate ship?
No,
Yeah.
you can own a pirate ship.
You just had to buy
Only
it
if
with real
it's
money.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, so
that's
no,
it.
I can't then.
Yeah, you can't play the piano or twirl a sign to get into the zone and then communicate with somebody on the other side of the planet.
I think it's a fun idea, but I
Yeah.
see where Dot's coming from because
Yeah, I do too.
it does, especially when Joe goes back and he gives up his badge that he gets from 22. I'm like, what? He's in the zone and he just can't go back out of the zone. He can't just like
Yeah,
wake
I
up,
didn't get
like-
that part. Yeah, I didn't get that
was a little
part.
weird.
Why he had to insert himself that he's worthy, I guess you'd say.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know why he would have to get another badge and go back down. Like, can't he just wake up?
Yeah, because he goes in the zone earlier in the movie, right?
Oh yeah, kind of. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And he
The
comes
way
back.
the way they explained it kind of was like for the gurus of the meditating and stuff, when they enter the zone, they basically sever their
in.
soul. Yeah, they're like half in. And so when Joe at the end learned how to get into the zone and meditate enough, I guess, to actually communicate with everybody, since he was half in, he gave up that badge. He was now fully in. So basically, there was just a dead body back where he was. He wasn't playing the piano anymore. I don't know. That's my theory.
Thank
at
you for the
least.
visual of Joe sprawled out on his piano dead.
Yeah.
You saw him dead a few times in the movie, so honestly,
Yeah, that is true. Or in the process of.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So
Another like unrealistic thing is like the whole cat thing. Like
Yeah.
22 going inside the cat.
I've seen you talk to your cat. I don't know.
Shut up.
What was weird is that what was his name? Moonwind? Was that his
Yeah.
name? That
Yeah.
Moonwind could understand the cat. Or
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it
because
was
he's
like-
from the he's
Yeah.
from the whatchamacallit.
but when he's not like when he came back to New York, like I get he's so spiritual. I guess he can still talk to cats. Can he talk to all cats?
I wouldn't doubt it for a
I
second.
think what they're trying to hit at is, they're all from the world, and he still can go back and forth, and so
Yeah.
that way he can still talk to
Yeah,
or understand. Because he could understand both 22 Joe and 22 and Joe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen, people talk to the cats, and the cats,
Oh,
hiss back at them. So it wasn't a crazy concept.
I talk to my cats all the time, and most of the time they don't hiss at me.
well, that's good.
Yeah, they like
My cat doesn't hiss, but he doesn't shut the f up.
me. Yeah.
Ever.
Can confirm.
Oh yeah, we do have some like that. And he just
Meow.
Oh, his is like. "Nee."
we're watching a friend's cat who's like that.
Oh, it's the worst. I'm sorry. I've had mine
Yeah.
for 11 years.
Yeah, nah, she's all right for the most part. But like, second you get up, it's immediately she gets up and is like, "Oh, we're moving. I'm gonna yell and yell and yell and yell and yell and yell." And she's like, Wait, just calm down. It's okay.
He's like, "Oh, you're sleeping? Let me sing you the songs of all of my people."
Yeah. She's at least good enough that she doesn't do it too much. Maybe a little bit, but not like too much if we're just sitting there or sleeping. It's only if we make movements that it's like, oh, I need you to follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. I need you to look at my food bowl while I eat. It's like, it's not even that. It's like, oh, your bowl's empty, like, or has that hole in the center, like most cats. Hers, she's like, no, you stand there and you will watch me eat. And then she takes like 2 bites, and then she's like, okay, I'm done, and walks away. And you're like, seriously?
Well, it doesn't take a while.
It's like, why did you need me for that? Whatever. She's still adorable. So
I'm gonna springboard this conversation because the idea of the cat not shutting up is exactly how I feel like when Joe, as 22, was talking to his mother and he was telling 22 what to say. It wasn't like he was whispering it to her. And,
he was yelling.
they already established that when he's talking, it's just the cat making noise.
Yeah, they dropped that whole concept.
Yeah, so that whole section, I'm imagining in my head that the cat makes a ton of noise and then Joe talks, and then the cat makes a ton of noise and then Joe talks. It kind of ruins the moment, but it doesn't really. But it kind of like after you watch it in your head, you're like, wait a second.
Yeah,
shouldn't
I
the
did
cat
notice
be like,
that.
Shouldn't the mom be like, shut that cat up? Get it out.
Yeah. It sucks. Like, it's funny for me too, because I went to school for sound design. Just want to put that out there, and like I wanted to edit sound and music for film. So like I love like watching movies and just like picking up on both like musical things as a musician, but also sound design choices. In that moment when Joe is standing up to his mom, and of course in cat form, but there's that translation, and they kind of do a subtle pan behind the mom's head, and as we switch, they switch from Joe through the cat into being like mom's perspective of hearing Joe. You have that moment where, like, of course, the cat stops talking, and I can just imagine someone in the studio like having an edit where the cat just yapping the entire time. Meow, 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 and then like Joe's talking, but then someone has to make a decision saying, "Hey guys, it's too distracting for this moment." And like, I want that edit. I want that edit.
Yeah, me too. Because not having the cat yelling took me out of that scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like after the scene was over, then I was like, wait a minute, the cat was barking that whole time. Like
Cat was barking.
It's just one of those things where it's like obviously the scene works if you don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, based on what they already told you the movie, then it's like, oh well, I don't know.
Well, they're pulling at your heartstrings, so they're like, we got to throw every logic, out the window.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Dot's right that it was like they probably had that, and then had the edit of the cat screaming, and someone went, "No, it's too distracting. Take it out."
Yeah, or
it's in the bloopers.
Well, or they were like, well, we need to make this more of a serious scene instead of having the cat in the background.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Boo.
Yeah, boo.
Cat haters out there.
Release the cat cut.
Come on, Pixar. I know you listen to our podcast.
The other cut I need to is the spin-off, 45-minute story of the one kid from the barbershop who got accidentally kidnapped by Terry.
Oh yeah.
And was just like life altered. We need his spin-off story too, because I'd love to see him just devolve into chaos.
That'd be really funny.
I'm sad
Soul
that
too.
Yeah, I'm a little sad we actually didn't even get like a little clip at the end of what
Yeah.
he's doing or something. Because a lot of movies, things like that will happen, and then they'll just at the end, you'll see them for a minute to be like, oh, they got over it, or oh, they're a changed person, or
You guys didn't see that scene?
Oh, boy,
Shut
here we
up,
go.
Yemmy.
Yeah, nice A for effort though.
That's your Robitussin talking.
It was just my hallucination at the end of the movie.
Yep.
You caught me. I was trying to have a greedy moment.
Yeah, you picked up on her real quick.
You're just not as good at it. It's greedy. I'm sorry.
They did like a short with 22 a couple. I don't know if it was like a year or so after the movie came out. Maybe not even. They should have done one with I don't know what they would have called it, random guy that Terry kidnapped. I don't know, but I think it would have been fun to follow up with him and see how his life changed after that.
That was the barber guy, right?
Well, he wasn't the barber. He was just at the barbers.
He was at the barber, and he kept razzing Joe. And then
he was the greedy of the barber.
Yeah.
It's the hater.
You know, now that barber shop scene where Joe doesn't realize that he doesn't know anything about his friend in the barber shop.
Yeah,
that's also a true thing.
Yeah, that actually struck a chord, because like, how many people in your life do you kind of like say, "Hey, what's up?" and kind of go past without really knowing too much about them? I mean, obviously with my job, I see a lot of people every week, so it's like I can't like sit there and go over everyone's life story every time I go into a customer's office, but it is one of those things where it's like, you kind of think about it, like, you know, I don't really know a lot of these people who I would say they're more acquaintances. Like, I don't really know who they are.
Yeah.
But I think that was a very nice moment too, just kind of be like, hey, don't forget that the person who's cutting your hair, they have a life, and they also have feelings and whatever. Because you know, Joe kind of was kind of like more passé when he's like, just sit down, don't talk, you know, just talk about jazz or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what whenever he went to the barber, you know, they just talked about jazz the whole time. And it did sound like the barber, was his name Dominic, I think? But it sounded like he did like jazz, but yeah, he did not like it as much as Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the part that struck me is like when they're leaving, and you know, it seems like, you know, they stop it for a second, like they really wanted you to focus on it. They really focused, but the part where he's like, "How come we never learned about your life?" and guy was like, "You never asked."
Yeah.
That really struck me. I was like, man, how many times have I talked to people and I never asked about them? You know, like even just going to grocery store, or you know, checking out with the clerk. You know, they're like, "How's your day?" And I just, you know, would say, "Good." You know, and not have fun. I know it sounds horrible, but you know, like we've all done it where we didn't ask them. You know,
cashier's a little different than a barber. Cashier you're with for maybe 2 minutes. Barber you're with for maybe 20 to 30. I don't know how long haircuts take nowadays.
I would hope a haircut doesn't take 30 minutes.
I don't know. My wife cuts my hair.
Yeah, it's the point. Not the point though.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we're so quick just to move on.
Point. I recently got a haircut like a week or so ago, the weekend before Christmas, and a lot of times you go to like Great Clips or something like that, one of those local like big chain places, and you get a new barber every week, and it's not like as personable as going to like that, you know, downtown like mom and pop shop kind of barber shop. But the barber that I had this time at this chain place was very personable, and they actually got me to open up and talk to them. And where a lot of times you go there, they ask what you want, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, one on the sides, trim them off like an inch or two on the back. And, you know, you kind of do the pleasantries and stuff like that, but then they get to work and you don't really talk. But, you know, there's some people who can do that where they can, you know, get the person in the chair to actually talk and, you know, talk back and forth, which is great. It's not what everyone wants, of course, but I feel like if you are going to like a mom and pop barber shop with a person with a stylist with a personality, you kind of expect it, you know, a little bit more for the person to be very personable and very chatty, and also very good at their job. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's like you don't really think about, you know, how many times I've sat in that chair with a different person and not really said too much. Yeah. And yeah, you know, it's a nice message in the movie that I think can resonate with a lot of people.
For sure. And simple too.
I think, like, on one hand, we should be a lot more willing to listen than we talk, and it can be really easy to get caught up in this. I got you. I threw off for a second. I was like, man, like, can they not hear me? No, but like, it can really easy to get caught up, especially if we're talking about things we actually like love and we're passionate about. But I think there's a deeper layer to it for this, because like the black barbershop culture, or like, that's a real culture. And it's not just like, oh, I'm going down the street to the closest, as you said, like Supercuts or something like that. It's like you find a barber. Most people, that's their barber until they have to find somebody different. There's like this whole cliche about like, don't cheat on your barber. If barber finds out you're cheating on them, they won't cut your hair anymore. Like that's, like you go to the barber shop, once your hair is cut, you will sit down and stay in there for a while longer. They've made movies about like, I think 3 or 4 movies called Barbershop. And so for him to have a guy when he's thinking, I'm in a crisis, who do I go to? Not just I'll go to my barbershop, I'll go to Supercuts, is I'll go to Dez. Like if Dez switches shops, he's going to Dez no matter where that shop is. And to have someone that you're that connected with, that you trust, and like in Black culture, like haircuts being huge and having your hair cut the right way on a consistent basis, and you're trusting this guy with a huge part of who you are and your look and identity, to then realize after years and years and years of this that you don't really know who he is, like, is a huge moment. And yes, in general, like, we should listen, but for me that really hit too, because it's like, man, like you don't really understand. That'd be like me going to my best friend kind of being like, oh man, like I did not know that you actually had this passion, and realizing this whole time that like I don't know my best friend,
Wow.
and that's just wild. I think a huge moment for Joe in this too.
Yeah. I also think this part kind of parallels with Inside Out a little bit. I'm gonna switch Pixar movies here for a second, but
it's in the PCU.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's our typical.
We've already brought up In and Out once before, so
In and Out.
we're good.
In and Out.
Are you hungry over there?
No, I'm not. Whatever that Pixar movie's called, I don't remember.
We'll blame the Robitussin, Yemmy's Robitussin.
Yeah,
But-
Yemmy, calm down on that Robitussin, man.
I can't stop. It's addicting.
It's hitting me.
No, but
for me,
like
it's the sleep deprivation.
That's fair. No, but like when Joy is like constantly trying to get Sadness to like hurry up, we got to get back there, and Bing Bong's having like this crisis moment when they take away the wagon. And
I'm sorry, when you're using these people's names, Bing Bong, we're just talking about that serious subject.
I'm sorry.
Bing Bong's having a moment.
I was gonna say this before he got all like sentimental. I'm sorry.
It's just funny. I love that Pixar uses these bizarre names for things, because when you're talking about like a serious moment, and you're like, oh yeah, Bing Bong was going through it. It's just in general just very humorous.
That's fair. But like, shit. So
Sorry,
it's okay. Sadness is like sitting with him and like talking through it, and like letting him kind of sit in that for a second, and like letting it all out, and then he's good to go, and like they keep going, and it's like you can see that click in Joy's mind as well as Joe's, that like, oh hey, like I didn't stop to think about this person and like what they might be going through, and they do it for me all the time, or like they like were talking about me all the time, or what have you. Like in Joy's instance, they're both, Sadness and Bing Bong, are trying to help get them back to Riley. It's just like those moments that click, and like I love that they make that so prominent in these movies, that like you're not the only one that's learning something, like these characters are too, and it's like great way of like character building and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. As silly as Bing Bong's name is, that scene does resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know it was that scene, like the whole barbershop scene was kind of, character building, but they didn't really do anything else with it, Kind of upset about it.
Well,
Yeah, not yet anyway.
Yeah,
But like I said, it was
Soul
about
2
character building. Yeah.
Soul 2 will be about the guy who was kidnapped by Terry, and him and the barbershop are gonna.
That's right.
And
get back
Dez.
his soul.
Yeah.
And Dez.
Yes, that was...
I mean, even the Dez
Kinda-
story would be cool.
I don't know who said it earlier, but this idea of like, we would love like a moment at the end where we got to see a glimpse of the one character, or like the one person who was kidnapped, or even like a moment at the end where we can kind of like just have experienced maybe 22 going back and communicating, I don't know, something like that, or just like a moment where man, like, oh, like this something like important or big just happened.
Or Joe going back to the barbershop.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, just a quick, and all they had to do is like pan like outside the window and just them having a smiling conversation.
Yeah.
I don't. So this might be a hot take, a controversial.
All right, Tay's got the hater hat on.
It's not a hater
Here,
thing.
you want my hat? Here you go.
No, it's not a hater thing. But does anyone else feel like the movie should have ended with Joe staying dead? I guess does anyone else?
That's a hater moment.
No. No.
That's an interesting question.
I for sure thought about that at the end there when he was waiting to get back. He's on the escalator of death or whatever.
Yeah.
And even though the thought crossed my mind was like, oh, he's at the piano dead, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was like. I was kind of like, oh, are they actually gonna do it? They actually have him, get blipped out? Because, I mean, it's kind of like that, a Final Destination, where it's like, well, I mean, is he just gonna kind of keep almost dying over and over again? Like, how long is it gonna go? And
yeah, well,
I feel like he kind of like because the lesson in the I guess
he learned he kind of learned the lesson and like realized. Life is worth living, but also he was being selfish and stole 22's life, and she deserved that life. And so, it just felt like, and I remember thinking it the first time I watched it, and this time again came across my mind, was like, it really should just, I feel like the ending would have been more poignant if he had just actually died.
That would have been definitely a better ending. And honestly, this movie was kind of a little bit predictable at the end. To me, because I was like, oh, he's going to go back and he's going to save her. And, as it went on, and then, as he was being all sad again, I was like, oh, they're going to release him. Like who are the gatekeepers or whatever you want to call them? The Jerrys. I was like, oh, they're going to grant him his wish. I actually thought they were going to do that sooner. So maybe they did, kind of twist it a little bit, because I thought they were originally going to do that when 22 got her life or her pass. I thought they were going to be like, oh, and you can have one too. But once I knew he was going back and he's getting in that groove, I was like, all right, he's going back. He's going to save her. He's going to bring, and then he's going to be fine.
I guess if this was more of just a pure adult movie, he would have been bug zapped. But since it is a kid, it needed to have a happier ending. But I feel like the happy ending is 22, flying down the earth and living, becoming a life. I feel like if they had just ended the movie right there, where 22 lands on Earth, and just the movie ended, I wouldn't have been angry about it. It would have
been a good setup for a second movie.
Well, but it also would have left more questions than I guess needed answers to.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see him, ride the escalator, get bug zapped, and then it goes back down to Earth, and you see 22 as a newborn baby, and that then it fades out, and all's well.
Or he gets zapped out, and you see a new blob appear in the pre-birth.
Oh yeah,
that has a fedora on.
Yeah, and it's just you just recycle. It's all right. Yeah, it just makes sense now.
I kind of grew up, and once I grew up, but most of my adult life, I heard this phrase. I forgot what it was from. It could have been from a creative writing class, but the story ends when the main character has an opportunity to make a change, whether that's for good, for bad, or whatever it may be. The story should end at that opportunity. And the older I get, the more I crave that from movies. And that's, I think, one of the things, one of the few things as far as our movie choices that Ray and I get in these blood curdling street fights over, where we, lose limbs and whatnot, is about that aspect is I crave an ending that has as much dissonance as choices in life do. In life, if I make a choice, it really has this happy ending feel. There's always a cost. And oftentimes that cost is worth paying, or it's worth in the end. But there's always this feeling of what if, or there's always this feeling of could have made a different choice, or even if it's a great choice, there's some dissonance of knowing I could have had something else, and just not knowing what happens. And there's times when like I don't have to see what happens. I don't have to see it to know that they're probably ended good. And I think a good story along the way is knowing that, like, so for instance, for Joe, once he stepped through that door, or like once the opportunity, even if you don't see him step through the door, just like once that question is asked, like, do you want to go back? If it would have ended there, I think it would have been a great ending, because if not, he learned something, that he appreciated his life, and know that, there's a different love he has for himself and his family. And if he does make the choice, that he'll live his life differently, because we saw the change throughout the movie. And I think if something has to show us later on that, oh, look, he actually did change, I think it's because the story throughout was kind of weak. And so with that kind of thing in mind, I do wish it didn't have that same kind of childlike ending to it.
Yeah. No, even if it had just ended at the question, you don't get the answer. I mean, yeah, because at that point you just make your own endings. Like, well, yeah, no, he clearly went to the afterlife, or no, he went back and changed his life and everything. The viewer makes that choice.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to show the choice. Like, even if they were like, do you want to go back? He's like, yes. And that ends there. So like that would be okay too. Again, not as quite as good as I think, like I said, I still think him going to the afterlife would have been the best ending, but
I think in this situation, if it ended in a choice, I would be okay with that, because that he feels fulfilled either way. Yeah. So it's just like, regardless, you would have a content ending rather than dissonance.
I didn't think about that watching it, so that was good.
I love a good question at the end of a movie, because that really sparks the conversation, whether it be with The Thing or with Inception or whatever. I always love a movie that ends on a bit of a question mark, because then it's like you can kind of fill in the gaps yourself, or maybe there's something else that comes out, whether it be a book or a video game adaptation, whatever that fills in the blank. But having, I think when we a very long time ago talked about The Thing, and whether who was actually a thing, who was still a thing, at the end, and how do you know which is which, and blah blah blah. It's always so much more fun to speculate and talk theory and all that stuff, rather than getting that straight answer of oh, he was the thing the whole time, or oh, he wasn't. And movies that set up stuff like that is always some of my more favorite of the bunches, even though I do like conclusions too, don't get me wrong, especially in my video games. If a video game doesn't have a good conclusion, then I'm like, well, why did I play this, right? But obviously it's two different mediums. But with this movie, I think that I would have not have been as satisfied if they left it at the question. I think I would have liked to. I think I like the way even though I do think that he probably should have went into the big fly swatter called Afterlife. Yeah, I think that I wouldn't have been as satisfied personally if they left it at the question.
Interesting.
Yeah. See, for me, I'd rank it afterlife, question, and how it ended.
Oh, okay. What if there's a fourth option? He just he jumps off the escalator and does it all again.
Oh no! All right, let's get that one. Soul 2.
Yeah. I mean, seeing him be a permanent mentor or whatever those people were.
Oh yeah.
For the the newbies trying to find their spark, I think that'd be a cool.
That would be really cool.
Actually, yeah. If they had showed up and said, "Do you want to go back?" and said, "Hey, you're really good at that mentoring thing. Do you want to do that?"
And hey guys, legally, Terry won't let you back. Terry's just tiring
you're dead.
over here.
You can't go back, but
we could, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure the mentors, they did their one mentoring thing, and then they went to the afterlife.
The great beyond,
right?
Yeah.
That was the permanent mentor. He got a little special privilege.
Oh,
I mean, it sounded like there were some people who did a few mentoring, I don't know, especially when they name drop all the mentors she had, where it's okay.
Well, I think that's just to show how long she's been around. I mean, she's number 22.
22, right?
Yeah.
So she's had them all. They should. I mean, the first one should have been like a caveman.
Don't go. Actually, that's probably was the first. The first one with "Don't go, not worth it."
Yeah, fire bad, dinosaur eat. Actually, that's a misconception. Dinosaurs and cavemen weren't alive at the same time. I apologize for spreading misinformation.
Although, kind of, they were though. Birds are dinosaurs, and we definitely had some big old birds that killed people.
You know, crocodiles and alligators are also dinosaurs, so we still.
So are chickens, right?
Chickens are dinosaurs, yeah.
All right,
but I'm just saying, some of the birds that I just watched a YouTube video about it, 11-foot tall birds and with jagged beaks that probably.
This is the real hot take of the podcast.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying, you're not 100% wrong to say dinosaurs. The avian dinosaurs, not the theropod dinosaurs.
Yeah, those words.
T-Rexes were theropods.
Don't go mammoth kill you. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. Except for we killed mammoth, but
well, I mean, mammoth fight back.
Yeah.
Haven't you ever played Far Cry Primal? That's a very historically accurate game.
I have not actually played any Far Cry game.
I will start with Primal because that one is technically
5 is the best.
10,000 PC.
Yeah, and the best.
5's the best. Is that what I just heard?
5 the best, but also I'm a huge co-op guy, and the fact that Primal other ones aren't co-op, I write about. So co-op for 5, I love it.
Fair enough. I like co-op too. So
I can't say jumping. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I thought we were going to do our Far Cry segment here.
Yeah, this is our video game section.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've always been a big fan of Blood Dragon for the Far Cry series, but obviously if we're talking mainline games, I think my favorite is 4 or 3. It's tough to say, but I think 4 refined what 3 set up.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. They're all on Game Pass, right?
They're Ubisoft,
nope.
so.
Oh well.
It would be cheaper though on Game Pass.
It would, yeah, or just wait for a Steam sale. They go to $2.
It's probably still on sale, so
yeah,
end of the year sale.
Let's look right now. Let's take a no joking. I will look, but we can continue the conversation.
All right, back to Soul.
Obviously, one of the things. Oh, go ahead.
No, I want to say this is a small thing. And this is me nerding out a bit. I appreciate any movie, and I gotta give Coco its props too for this. When music is involved, or when someone's playing instruments, when they animate the instruments being played the right way in the right key with the right chords and everything like that, drums being played with the right rhythms and stuff like that. I hate when I see the lazy, I'm just doing random stuff and there's music coming out. Animating the actual notes being played the right way, that to me is a huge win.
Oh yeah,
it's very respectful not just to use the Guitar Hero.
Yeah. I love the YouTube videos where they actually a musician goes in and is like, "This is what they were actually playing," and it's just
I love those too.
It's yes. And yeah, Far Cry's they're pretty cheap at the moment. Whoa, really? 85% off Far Cry 5.
Far Cry fries? You are hungry, aren't you?
I am. I know. Far. I can't talk. It's a problem. Far Cry 5 is 85% off. $8.99. Normally $60.
Woo!
That's actually a
They're
pretty
still
good deal.
selling it for $60. Damn.
Yeah. Well, $59.99. Yeah. Same with Far Cry 6. But that one's on sale right now for $14.99. And then they just get cheaper from there.
So I think a conversation that comes up a lot when you're watching. Well, I know we've talked about this a couple times. With this movie, one of the main things is Joe. He wants to play jazz, but he has to do this teacher's job. And this conversation does come up when we talk about this stuff. But I mean, I'm sure every one of us has given up on a passion or something like that in order to not only just make ends meet, but, conform with some sort of societal pressure to, get a job and live comfortably, right? And I think that the idea of giving up on your passion is obviously a bad thing, and that's not what this movie is going for. But making do and balancing your work life and your after work life is very important. And in this case, like Joe could, as I think Tay said earlier, he could take that job and get the 401k and teach kids for a living, and then after hours he gets all his stuff done for work, and he plays jazz at the local jazz club or whatever,
and then only gets 4 hours of sleep. That's plenty.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing about balancing the work and life and stuff like that, and your passions. And like the thing, a lot of people wonder, like, how do I do so much for my Twitch stuff and my YouTube stuff and whatever? And it's because after work's done, I say, turn that switch off. Let's get into fun mode. I don't look at making a podcast or making a stream as work. I see it as something fun to do, and if there's benefits to that by having people watch or having people subscribe or having people do whatever, that's great. But that's I don't think that it's such a small group of people who generally get big doing those things. That's in my head. I was like, I'm not gonna put too much towards this. I mean, I'm gonna still put a lot of passion in it. Don't get me wrong. Like this is definitely my passion. Like if I had my little like handprint on that, show me your life kind of thing, there would be a moment in my life where I started making videos when I was like, Greedy Waffles and I were like 10 years old, and I got a video camera, and that's where the trajectory went. Oh, I want to make videos. I want to do this. And even though I made videos my entire life pretty much at this point, it wasn't what turned into my career. Obviously, I couldn't predict where my career was going to go, but they did turn into my passion. And I think that the one thing that the movie maybe doesn't do amazing is separating those two things, because your passion can be your job. That's not a problem at all. But I think for a lot of people out there, the passion is your hobby, and the job is your job.
and now that I'm thinking about it, though, they probably only play on the weekends. Because, like, he didn't, like, have to go into work that whole day he was dead, which means it was probably Saturday.
Or a holiday.
Probably just Saturday. And then he was going to play again the next night, Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, the one girl was going to come over for lessons that day, so it probably was, like, a weekend.
Yeah. So, it's like, yeah, he definitely could do both if he's just playing on the weekends.
Right.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I mean, I never really been to a jazz club, but I was like, are they really playing on like a Monday or a Tuesday? I mean, when I hear like jazz clubs, like I think, like, I don't know, like what good comparison is, like those steakhouses that are only really fancy and open up in between, like Thursday and Sunday kind of thing. But I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it.
I've been to jazz clubs before. It's been forever. But if I remember right, I think I can't remember if they had a live band every night. I mean, I didn't go every night. I don't know if it was just the weekend. And like, if you happen to go there on the weekday, they just played like jazz music over the, the intercom. But they might be there every day, but like, I don't know.
Seeing that it's New York, I could definitely see them having something happening every day, or even if it's like because like they could have like a resident musician who plays there very frequently, and maybe they have set times. Hey, I'm here every Saturday and Sunday from these times, and throughout the week and maybe around those times they fill in with other people. But I can definitely see a situation where they're open every night with some kind of live performance happening.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but it seemed like she was kind of like a big headliner, like big deal. So I could see they're going either way, where she's just like, oh no, I'm only available at this club on the weekends. And, because I'm doing a big show, like on weeknights over at this other gig. So I don't know. I think it could go either way, but safe to say.
Either way, him being bivocational, like him teaching and then performing, very doable. Absolutely. And I think one thing, like a phrase I heard a while ago that someone told me that I will never forget is like I asked this woman, like, hey, is this what you want to do? And she's like, not really. It's similar to what she wants to do, but not quite there. But she said, this job I'm doing pays a lot more money, and I do this job in order to fund my passions. And she does her passions, side projects here and there, or like small projects that don't take up as much time, but she can do and complete, and then take on another small one as she goes. But that idea, especially when it comes down to art, whether it be visual or performative, being able to have a job close to what you want or not, in order to make the money, in order to provide the funds and freedom to take time to do your passions on the side, I think is very realistic.
And as somebody who did do that, I'm a video editor, or I was a video editor, and I liked doing videos, editing. It was fun. I got a job editing like just wedding videos, and after doing that for a while, it burned me out on just video editing anything, and I was just like, I don't want to do anything. So that can happen, but like I said, I've heard more stories of what Dot described, where they're just like, oh no, I do this for work, and then it's similar to what I like, and then I do my passion, in my free time. Kind of thing.
My job is a machine that turns money into video games. And bills.
Yay.
Yeah.
I know I'm new here, but given that the purpose of, or like one of the big points of the movie is understanding the difference between the purpose and passion, how many people here have an idea what their purpose might be?
No.
Yikes.
Well, because my purpose, because that's the problem, is like the purpose could be completely unrelated. And I don't think the movie made that necessarily super clear, because like at the very beginning, they're showing these pre-souls get their purpose for things like pizza, baseball, and like all these things. And like they're like, oh well, no, the purpose isn't your spark isn't your purpose, and I was just like, wait, but what? What is it that? I don't know. Maybe I just lost the point at that point of what they were trying to say, but like spark and purpose is like they were using spark throughout the whole movie, and then finally they're like, oh well, that's spark's not your purpose. And it's like, okay, so how do we find out what our purpose is?
Through living.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, what's your spark? What's your purpose? My spark's just being creative.
Right
my purpose, yeah.
My purpose is right here. It doesn't matter if there's only 10 people listening, but my purpose has been for a while to podcast and talk about games and movies and shit.
Yeah. My purpose is taking care of a ton of animals, and I loves it. Guess it's
my spark definitely like music and being creative, but also it's making connections with people. Like something I'm driven by. There are a lot of times. Even for Christmas, I was with Ray and her family, and they of course I didn't get as many gifts as they got each other from their family, and they don't have to give me a thing. And I'd be okay with that because I'm driven. I told them just being here is enough. I don't need a gift, and I'm driven just by the connections and those kind of relationships. But I think my purpose in life, I've been finding a lot of purpose recently, in how I interact with kids. Like for my job, I have to work with kids on a regular basis, and just having opportunities just to learn from them and be there to inspire, protect, teach, kind of guide them in any way I can. I've been finding a lot of purpose in that. And ways I can get involved in my church and do ministry stuff. And I think purposes can change and shift and evolve, but that's where I'm right now.
It's a very good purpose.
Yeah, it might take a while for people to find their purpose. It's not an easy thing, especially if you don't have some sort of guidance, I guess, or maybe like a mentor or something like that. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer for people to find what their true purpose is, and I think the movie also kind of illustrated that with Joe's conversation with the jazz lady at the end there. Because Joe's what, in his 50s or something like that in the movie, right? So
I thought he was like in his late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, I was saying like 40s.
Yeah, it just still took a while to.
Yeah. And they didn't ever specify, I don't think, his exact age, but.
Also, I think finding a purpose a bit later in life like that, like I think that's perfectly normal. That should be more acceptable, or that should be more normalized, I think, to you in life.
Oh yeah, they send kids to college at 18, and you're getting $100,000 in debt going to a fancy college for something you might not even use in life. It's funny. A lot of my friends went off to college. My sister went to college to like teach like first grade or something like that, and my sister is like a person who helps people find jobs now. So it's like she's not even using that degree. And like my friend, I don't really talk with him anymore, but he went to college for chemical engineering. He got out of college and he plays bass guitar in a band. So it's like,
wow,
you get sent off to college and people tell you that college is the most important thing ever. And then you go, oh, well, I don't really know what I want to do. Or maybe you think you know what you want to do, but then you start doing it and you're like, I don't like this. And for me, it was like, well, I don't want to, I was satisfied with getting, instead of being shipped away to college and spending thousands of dollars there, my dad, he like co-signed over the condo that he owned in my name, and I was able to live there with a couple friends and just kind of feel it out a little bit and go to a community college and only spend like $1,000 in tuition and like $1,000 in college books every year, and figure out what I wanted to do. And even then, like after doing all the stuff I did in the community college, I still don't really know what I wanted to do. I just kind of fell into the career that I have. But still, it's like I saved myself, I would say tens of thousands of dollars, not just in school fees alone, to find out that I didn't know what I wanted to do for 5 extra years of my life.
Yeah,
I think a lot of kids fall into that trap because a lot of parents, and this is obviously not to criticize any parents, but a lot of parents go, well, yeah, of course, you're supposed to go to college and you're supposed to get a fancy job and blah blah blah. I just don't think that that's how it should work. I feel like it's almost better to go to a community college for a couple of years, see if what you think you want to do is what you actually want to do, and then plan to spend the money or get the loan to go to the bigger college. I know it's hard because there's a lot of college programs that and grants and ways to get the ease that stuff right out of high school, but yeah.
I mean, I did that. I did community college for like 3-ish to 4 years. Almost got a degree in animation, and then went, you know what? I don't want to do this.
Well, yeah, I was going to. I had a couple ideas. There was radio host at one point. There was a writer at one point. But the thing that I almost went to college for was just trumpet. I didn't know exactly what I could do.
Just trumpet.
Well, I was
playing the trumpet.
I was pretty good. I was first chair most of my life, and I played in the jazz band and stuff. And I thought that if I just kind of went to college and was like, well, I play trumpet. The funny thing is that I stuck with the trumpet for about 2 years afterwards, played in the community college band, and I fell out of love with it. And imagine going to college, like a big time college, and getting taught by some professional for tens of thousands of dollars.
Like Joe Gardner.
Being like, well, yeah, I don't really want to do this. Sorry. Yeah, that would have been Yeah.
I feel you there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole nother conversation to talk about our education system, but
We just had it. We just had that whole conversation.
no, there's even more
Yeah.
to
I'm about to say
bring up.
that's a pretty.
No, it's pretty. We covered probably a third of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious if Greedy wants to share his college experience, because he went the full way. He went the full ride.
Well, not the full ride. Full ride would be doctorates, but I do have my master's degree, and yeah, Yemmy's right.
Nice.
Kind of waste of money.
I tell people with about just the bachelor's.
Yeah, what I do now, I mean, I like what I do. You know, I'm in the medical field. I enjoy it, but you know, I also like bartend on the weekends, and I make heck a lot more money like bartending than I did do with my 4-year or 6-year college degree.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man, I could have, you know, let's say, gone the route of Yemmy, and well, not Yemmy, but you know, gone the route of, you know, not going to college and just could have been a bartender, because I really did enjoy, you know, going to high school, and I was in junior college. I worked in a restaurant. I was like, man, I could have just stuck with the restaurant business and, you know, go work in a nice fancy place, you know, and maybe bartend or, you know, do that. But
Yeah.
Open your own bar.
When I talk to when I talk to younger people who want to do like go into film, which, you know, what I did sounds like that's what Dot did. I'm just like, especially like if they want to do video editing like me, I'm just like, just skip college, watch YouTube tutorials. You'll learn pretty much everything you're going to learn in college, but not pay anything. Yeah. And obviously, certain jobs they do require you to have that bachelor's degree and stuff, which.
Yeah, well, obviously you want to if you're going to be a doctor, but.
Well, yeah. No, if you're going to be a doctor, there's certain. I'm saying art specifically, like especially film. It's like. There's so many art like things on the internet nowadays that like teach you how to do those things that, you know, they expect you to learn. Sometimes even better, because sometimes you'll get, you know, in school you'll get a professor who's just like, well, I did this, but they said I had to teach this. I don't really know anything about it, so we'll just do something else. And you're like, but I needed to learn, you know, what this class was supposed to be about. That happened to me a few times. But then I had some excellent, you know, I had an excellent sound design teacher, an excellent screenwriting teacher. But yeah, it's just, I'm just like, yeah. If you want to just do video editing or, you know, art related stuff, you can do it much cheaper and learn pretty much the same stuff through tutorials online.
I think a lot of people found that out because there's a lot of people who unlocked their passion when YouTube started coming up.
For sure.
All right, back to what movie we were watching. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, we've stuck close to the source on this one.
This is related. This is related. Yeah.
It's a very rare thing, but I think we've done it pretty well.
And obviously, going to school as well will teach you other things that are useful in your life.
Like how to party, bro.
No, I didn't do any partying in my college. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
but like
meet people, you know.
You can
meet
meet
your significant other, or.
But like, you know, you'll learn some skill, like math stuff is important to learn. Some history stuff.
Learn good time management and.
Yeah, time management. Just some like a lot of the gen ed classes, like they're very important in life. They may not seem it at the time you're taking them, but then as you get older, you realize, oh, you know what? I'm really glad I actually got to learn those things. And those things are good and useful, but
I learned how to be really good with Microsoft Excel, and
I would say, but a lot of those
use that a lot for my job.
A lot of those things you can learn that, and as Yemmy said, in community college, which is cheaper, and you know it. I hate the people who like frown upon community college, like, oh, it's not a real college. It's like, yeah, it is. It's just not multiple colleges.
You just don't have
like
to
a university. Yeah, it's nearby, cheaper. And
it was a 15-minute drive for me. Nice little drive through the countryside.
Oh yeah. See, like I said, when I went to community college, it was maybe 5 to 10 minute drive. Tuition was like $800 to $1,200 a semester, depending on the year.
Yeah. And you can sell.
Actually,
I
no,
could sell my books back. So the $500 some dollars I spent on books, they would buy most of them back.
Yeah, I was like most of that, the 800 to 1,200 was books. Because I'm sure it's gone up now at this point. Obviously, this was years and years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I think it was like
10 years since I've been in college, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. When I did community college, that was 20 years ago. Which is crazy. We're old. But yeah, it was like $800 a semester kind of thing, or $600 a semester. So like $1,200 a year or something. I mean, it was cheap compared to colleges, universities where it's like, oh yeah, $40,000 a year. Which is crazy when I actually did go to university, and I took out some like Pell Grants and student loans, and like they just when they it pissed me off too, because like, here's your student loan, here's what we suggest you do, and like in there was like an extra $10,000 so you can travel, and like all these different things where I'm like, as nice as that would be, I'm not going into debt to go travel. I don't need an extra $10,000 a semester kind of thing. And that's just like the default included. Like you have to go in and go like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, going back to what Greedy said about Excel, like I took a class in community college for the Microsoft Office suite. So I learned everything I needed though through that. And then also like even just to get like a basic IT job, community college is a great place to start. You can learn the basics of networking. So that's how I got my start. Just took a couple classes on networking at the community college, and that's kind of where it lifted off from there. So
what we're telling you kids is don't look down on community college. Give it a try.
I'm saying try out what you think is your passion at community college.
Yes.
And go from there.
Yeah.
Don't be pressured into going to the big time college simply because your sister or your brother went to the big time college, or we moved here from one other country, so you better go to college. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, I understand, but let's not waste our money here. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for an 18-year-old kid. Because you're 18, you're still practically a kid.
You are a kid.
Yeah, they say your brain doesn't fully form until you're 25.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, you're 18 years old and you're acquiring $40,000 of debt. Like, that's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our talk about money.
And schools.
And school, yes.
All we're saying is, like the movie suggested, it's okay to... No, I lost my point. Something about following your passion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I lost it.
I'm sure we've already discussed it at length earlier.
Yeah. Anyways, good movie, Soul.
Great movie.
Yeah, it is.
Do we want to do our final thoughts?
If no one has anything else they want to say about
Yeah, I feel like if we do, we're just going to get on some other tangent.
Hopefully,
about
the people listening to the podcast have watched the movie, because I think we've only we kind of etch-a-sketched it a little bit, where it's like, oh, Joe dies and he goes to pre-birth, and then he turns into a cat, and then he dies again.
That's the movie, guys. If you didn't watch it,
if you shake your phone, it'll reset the podcast back to new. We are the Etch-a-Sketch podcast now. But
or they just skip ahead and we're all talking about college now. They're like, wait, what happened?
Did Joe go back to college? Yeah, I guess the point is just watch the movie. I suppose this one's one that's like, it's a quick watch. It's good. It's got very good moments.
This was one when I had told my wife, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch the movie, for the podcast," and she's like, "Well, when is it?" And I was like, "Soul." She's like, "Oh, okay, I can stay in the room."
Yeah, no UGG
Yeah.
today.
No. Well, good luck with that. See you later.
Well, I'll be over here watching something that I actually like.
Yeah. So
I win.
you win. Good job.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't given our ratings yet. What if someone gives it a 1?
I give it a 1.3.
You would.
I wouldn't. I would never. Have I ever given a movie a 1.3? No.
Well, that's not fair because we don't do 0.3s.
That is true.
We do in increments of 0.5.
I think, if I remember right, I think Ray has given a movie like a 0.7 or something once.
It was, yeah, it was something.
It was like
that.
a 2.7 or a 3.7 or something. So all I'm saying, there is precedent for points, not other.
Yeah, but we course correct.
5.
It's true. I didn't know that was a thing, or at least I forgot.
Mm.
Yemmy allowed it one time.
I think it was for
That's
All
it.
Dogs Go to Heaven. That was it.
Yeah.
You gave that a 0.3?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
that made me cry. Podcast.
All I'm
Charlie, you could never go back.
all I'm saying is, why have a point system if we can't do 0.3s and 0.4s? It might as well just be a 1 through 10.
Well,
Well, it's a 1 through 5 with half increments.
Which is a 1.
it's much easier to track, I think, personally.
All right. I mean, Callus is the only one tracking that.
Well, that's debatable.
I don't think
I
anymore.
don't think he
Yeah,
does.
I know.
Yeah, I don't even think he's tracking anymore. All I'm saying is, I want to give.
the 1 through 10 is bloated. I think 1 through 5 is cute. It's nice.
I like
Yeah.
our rating system.
All I'm saying is, I want to be able to do a 3.7, or not in this case.
But then
for this movie,
that gets too messy.
I want messy. Comment down below if you want messy.
We'll each use our own rating system. I'll do 1 through 5. No increments
Ooh, I'm gonna
of
do
0.5.
A. I'm gonna do A through Z.
A through, okay, and then Greedy can do types of salad dressing from his least favorite to favorite for his rating
You
scale.
just gotta know my rating.
Yeah, you just gotta know.
Yeah. You can't give it a ranch. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
And then Ray can have her cat just meow into the microphone. And
5 meows or less.
That is not possible. It's got to
I'm not
be
saying
at
that.
least 5.
Well, then you're just gonna like every movie,
Uh,
or dislike every movie. I don't know. It's very unclear. All right, fine. I see your point, Yemmy. Although I still think my 0.7 is within the bounds of our system and is understandable. But
yes,
whatever helps you sleep at night.
I give this one 3 rubber chickens out of 5.
I give it a 3.66666666621.
All right.
I hate it
I
here.
give
All right,
I
let's
give it
rank.
3 to the power of 5
Let's rank.
divided by
Let's rank.
the
Ray, go ahead.
Okay.
All right, you heard the man. Final thoughts and rating, starting with Ray.
Final thoughts. I kind of liked your point about seeing a little bit more of New York and like the beautiful like scenery and like backgrounds and that kind of stuff. That is something that I enjoyed, like when they would show it, in small.
Don't do that.
Can I
Scenes
interrupt
and
for
stuff.
just a second? I have to
Oh
ask.
my god,
Who's here has been to New York?
me!
Me.
All 2 of us. Awesome.
Okay, good.
I plan on going there eventually.
Yeah, I plan on going eventually too, but like the way you were
Well,
talking, I thought you had already been.
I don't plan
Yep.
on going, so
But
you guys have fun.
The aesthetic of New York is always. I mean, even like Home Alone 2. It's fun to
Yeah.
adventure
fair,
around
fair.
New
Okay.
York. It's the thrill of it all, or the
Okay,
spectacle,
and
I
then-
should say.
End interruption. Sorry, Ray. Go ahead.
It's okay. But I agreed with Yemmy on that. Other than that, I love this movie so much. It means a lot to me sentimentally, and the music is gorgeous. And yeah, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5.
All right. Dot, do you want to go next?
Sure. Final thoughts. I think great movie, great message. One that we as adults will probably have to be reminded of a few times. Of course, love the music, love the comedy in it. Of course, agreed with the whole New York aesthetic as well. I think they did a great job with that. Altogether, I will have to give it 4.5 out of 5. Because of the jazz reference, I'll say 4.5 saxophones out of 5.
Fair.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry, I tuned out for a sec. Ray, what was your rating?
Oh my gosh, a 5 out of 5.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just had to double check. Sorry, Yemmy, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm all over the place today. I'm sorry.
It's the sleep deprivation.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this one. Not my favorite Pixar movie, but definitely up there. I think I gave it an A tier when I did my tier list, and I stand by that. I still really enjoy this one. I think that this, like, the animation style is very good in this movie. I really like the abstract stuff that they do throughout that first half, and then the later half when it's actually New York. I think they did a great job of really going a bit into detail with the grime of the New York streets and the subway and stuff like that, and obviously the moments where the characters are playing in the band, like we mentioned before, like very well animated there as well, and the movie does have a nice flow to it. It's a pretty quick, brisk watch, but it's also got a lot of meaning behind it. Very, very good indeed. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's good, and I would definitely watch it again in the future.
Yeah, definitely a great storytelling and message. Definitely superior in that. A little dark at times, so that's kind of like whoa kind of thing. It's definitely geared towards I'll say millennials because I feel like they kind of grew up with the kind of emotions, but maybe the people growing up now they might go through the same thing, and adults as well. So I did like the story. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
All right.
Tay
Overall,
the hater.
I'm not the hater. They're kind of comment down below on who the actual hater is, and I'm not the hater here.
All right.
No, I enjoy this movie. I agree with Yemmy. It's not my favorite Pixar movie, but it's definitely up there. It's good. I feel like because of its release, right in the middle of the height of the pandemic, and it only going to streaming, like it's a little forgettable. And just that, like, it didn't have that theatrical, like, I don't know, big moment, not moment, but you know what I'm saying, like where it didn't feel as theatrical, obviously, because it wasn't in the theaters, which is a shame because I think, like I said, the music in it is really amazing. The animation's great. I love all the different animation stuff they did for all the abstract guys. Like, even watching it at this time, I was just like, it's so cool. Like, how did they do it? But like, I don't know. It's good. I like the story. I like the message. Like I said, I do feel like there was a few moments where they could have done a little better, like delve a little more into the depressed souls. End it with him just being like, no, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to move on. I would have liked to see that. But overall, yeah, I'll also give it a 4 out of 5. I would have given it a 4.3 out of 5, but that's not allowed.
Closer to a 4.5 than a 3.5.
Definitely. Yeah. No, yeah, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. We'll stick with the 4 out of 5.
Well, all right. Good rec, Ray.
Yeah.
Whee!
Good job.
Thanks.
Well, this is the part of the podcast where we do a small recommendation before we find out what our next movie is going to be. And because it's the final, well, I mean, technically this episode is going to come out after the New Year's, but technically we're recording this before the New Year's at this point. I thought that it would be a good idea to recommend our favorite movie that came out this year. And if you haven't seen any movies from this year, that's okay too. Maybe just your favorite movie that you watched this year, or maybe the favorite movie that you reviewed on Film Freaks this year. So if you need a second to think, My recommendation, my small recommendation, is Furiosa, which was my favorite movie this year. Even though there was a lot of good movies this year, don't get me wrong. Furiosa is the one that I enjoyed the most, and I obviously recommended it before because when I first saw it, I was like, you got to go see this in theater. It's an experience, and even though it's not in theaters anymore, it's still a very good watch. It's not as fast paced as Fury Road. Obviously, I do like Fury Road better, but I think that this movie wasn't trying to be Fury Road. It was trying to do its own thing, and I can appreciate that a lot. It also adds a lot to Fury Road with the backstory of Furiosa, and I think that it also enhances Fury Road. And what a prequel made after the sequel. That's a weird thing to say. A prequel made after the movie that it is prequeling. It's always good to have it enhance the movie that comes after it, because a lot of times they go with a prequel and it's like, well, what this doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we explaining this? Why are we doing this? But Furiosa, I think, worked very well just as a prequel and as a movie. It's on its own. It worked really well, and that's why it was my favorite movie of the year. Also, obviously very good spectacle. There's one very big action scene kind of smack dab in the middle that is obviously what most people talk about. But I just really like the character building of Furiosa and her relationship with these crazy, post-apocalyptic desert people. And yeah, it's just a very, very fun movie, very well shot, and very much enhances the movie that I like more, but it very much enhances it. Fury Road being that. So, yes, that is my overall favorite movie of 2024. Who's next?
Did he say it had to come out this year?
Well, I said if you haven't seen a movie from this year, then you can, obviously recommend different.
Oh, this one did come out. Yeah, it came out this year. Transformer 1. Did it come out this year?
Yes,
it did. Yep.
It is very awesome. If as a lover from the Transformers series,
you're a lover of the Transformers.
Yeah. Yes. The Michael Bay series, got a little out of hand, and I lost my love for it, and just lost my passion for it. But Transformers 1, the animated one, phenomenal. I give it a 5 out of 5. Animation is fun, and they literally restart everything, and they do a good, storytelling of Megatron and Optimus Prime, and it's just very, very, very such a good movie. And I dragged my feet on it. And until Yemmy said it was phenomenal, I was like, all right, I got to watch this. And then I ended up really liking it.
Yeah, the entire movie's stellar. And, I was watching it in my car when I was supposed to be working. And I was so gripped on the edge of my seat with, the final, I would say 40 minutes of that movie. It was such a roll. It was such a ride. It was so good.
So I'm looking at movies that came out this year because I can't remember what movies came out this year or years before or whenever. And it looks like I've only saw 2 movies this year that came out this year. One being Transformers 1, the other being Fall Guy, or The Fall Guy, which I didn't realize came out this year. It just was on my brother's Plex server, and I went, I'll watch that, sure. So out of those 2, Transformers 1 definitely is my pick. The Fall Guy wasn't bad or anything, but Transformer 1 definitely was more my thing. There's a few movies I want to see that came out this year that I still haven't yet, and maybe I'll get to them. But for now, yeah, we'll also go with Transformers 1.
I'd say The Fall Guy was not good. I did not enjoy that movie.
Yeah, I didn't say it was good. It was middle of the road, fine. But I mean, it was basically a rom-com. So, it disguised itself as an action movie, but it was a rom-com. So
nice. The only movie that I saw this year was Inside Out 2, and won't you know it,
on my list.
Bald Like a Baby. It's great. It's wonderful. Yeah, I love that movie. So that is the only movie I saw this year, and thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I'm just wondering where like horny's at in in the whole mind space. Like, where's the horny emotion? You know.
That's a mixture
Uh-huh.
of what would that be a mixture of? I don't know.
Well, while you think of that, Dot, did you watch any movies this year?
I can honestly tell you, I cannot remember a movie I watched this year.
Right?
I saw that, but you already mentioned that one, and I'm not sure
fine.
about anything else I've seen this year.
So
At all.
I mentioned the same one as Greedy, so it's fine.
Inside Out 2, phenomenal movie. I think kind of similar to Soul, it dealt with some concepts that I think are great for adults as well. Of course, great animation. We're following again our beloved Riley as she's going through some chemical changes in her life that present themselves with the new emotions and new challenges that, of course, teenagers and preteens have to learn to navigate. And I think learning how to understand your emotions and process through them, that emotional intelligence, is something that a lot of adults still need to learn. So I love that movie for that reason. And I thought that's like the only movie that I remember seeing this year. So watch that one if you haven't.
Yeah. In all seriousness, it is a good movie.
I'm planning on watching it.
Yeah, it doesn't have Bing Bong in it though, so.
Oh, never mind.
True.
Fuck it.
Yeah. So, take it all back.
The peak was not there.
I found a more complete list of movies, but I still have to found one that I've seen.
Well, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be fun to reminisce about the various movies we've seen from the year. I can tell you what my least favorite movie of this year was.
Was it Madam Web?
I didn't watch Madam Web.
Oh, okay.
Even though I do, I heard it's hilariously bad, so I do want to watch it eventually.
I just said because that just happened to scroll by my list as I'm looking through this.
Wait, you don't want to watch the Dwayne Rock Johnson movie? What was it called? Red One?
Red One? No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
I have the mug. That's all I need.
Okay.
It was a bit of a toss-up for me. The most disappointing movie for this year was definitely Joker 2 for me, because the first movie is so, like, it's good. I mean, it's not my favorite movie ever, but it's a great movie. And then the Joker 2 just kind of like shits. Like Joaquin Phoenix would literally pull down his pants and just shit on a piece of paper, and like that would be the movie. And because that's exactly what this movie did for the first movie. It just shat all over it. So yeah, that Joker 2 was definitely bad. Greedy's not gonna like that I'm gonna say this, but I honestly, my least favorite movie is the Godzilla X Kong movie from this year. I know that there's a lot of people who really liked it, but when I watched it, it was just very disappointing, and I thought that the monster fights were very lackluster, especially because they cut away from like the kill shot in every single monster fight scene. And that's kind of what you live for in a monster movie, a kaiju movie. You kind of want the kill shot, and even for the final big bad of the movie, they pan the camera away from the kill shot. And I'm like, what are we trying to keep this PG-13? It's Godzilla and King Kong. Like, what are we doing here? So that was just very disappointing. And then I guess it's kind of a three-way tie because the Garfield movie was also pretty bad. As a longtime Garfield fan, I know I meme around with it a lot, but the Garfield movie was just, it almost felt AI created, and Chris Pratt was just, as predicted, a terrible Garfield. So,
I found another movie I saw this year that came out this year, Ghostbusters 2, Frozen Empire, which I did enjoy.
Did Bustin' make you feel good?
Yeah, it did. It wasn't as good as the last one that came out. What was it called? Whatever. But like, it was still good.
Good.
So that's so far. I added one movie to my list. I'm still going through the list, so maybe there'll be another one. But
yeah, I was supposed to see Nosferatu on Friday, and of course I was sick. I didn't get to see it, but a lot of people have said it's really good, and I'm not a hater of the original movie. I just think that it's really dull, and I mean, obviously, I appreciate it for what it does, and it's obviously got some really cool scenes in there, especially for the time. But like, you watch it now, and it's like, oh my god, this is like, how long is this movie? And it feels like it's going on forever, and there's nothing happening, and then you get to the cool shot of like Nosferatu, he's in the doorway, or then you get the really cool moment. So I was really hoping they get to see the new Nosferatu, but it just didn't happen. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to see the rats. Sorry, guys.
It's all right. Another movie it was a Netflix movie. What was it called? It just came out. Spellbound. That's my disappointment movie for the.
Sounds like a Hallmark movie.
No, and it's like trying to be a Pixar movie, but also like a Disney like cartoon movie, like that's like a musical. I think I went over this. It's not good. The music's not good. The songs aren't good. They feel forced. It's just overall, it's just. Bleh.
Well, all right.
So that's mine. If you see it on Netflix and you're like, oh, maybe I should watch it, don't waste your time.
Skip.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's go ahead and let's reveal what movie won the fan vote. And this is going to be quite the 180 from what we just watched, which is kind of the MO of this particular person who will be making another reappearance on the podcast. But X-Men from 2000, the original X-Men from 2001.
Best one.
Directed by Bryan Singer. This was recommended, of course, by Demonic Lucy, a.k.a. D&D Lucy. So she will probably be back on the podcast for the next episode. I'll get in contact with her. Resident Marvel fanatic and superhero fan, so it will be an interesting watch because I don't think I ever watched the original X-Men. So
really,
yeah.
Oh. Besides the stupid line that's the meme line in it from Storm, it's out of the original three, it's my favorite.
Well, okay then.
So.
The synopsis: 2 mutants, Rogue and Wolverine, come to a private academy for their kind, whose resident superhero team, the X-Men, must oppose a terrorist organization with similar powers. So it's kind of similar to Soul.
Yeah.
This stars Hugh Jackman, of course, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Famke Janssen. I'm sure I said that wrong. James Marsden, Halle Berry, and many, many more. So, if you want to revisit the 2000s with us and rewatch X-Men, it's available pretty much everywhere. Disney Plus, Amazon, etc. Make sure you watch that before the next episode airs in 2 weeks. And we'll reconvene and talk about that.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Does anyone have anything they want to say before we end the show?
Yeah, I do have something to say. I have an announcement. It's kind of funny that it's happening on a day like this, but I am going to be announcing my retirement from this podcast, unfortunately.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I think, just, I don't know. I don't have a good reputation of picking movies. And
we like
thanks a lot, Tay.
I don't also, that's why I said it's kind of funny that it happened on a night like this. And I just been thinking about it for a while, and I just haven't been really watching the movies to critique them. I just been kind of, watching like some like background noise kind of thing, and I feel like that's not a good way to have a podcast and be watching a movie. So I just think I'm gonna retire. I'll finish out this round, but
so
probably
X-Men
next
will
round.
be your last movie.
No, I said I'll finish out this round, meaning I'll have another pick and Ray and then Tay or whatever.
All right.
Well, yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. So your last movie will be the next fan vote, whatever that is.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Well, should we make it a movies Greedy will like kind of thing, like we do with Callus? Or?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
As I just said, I hate. Haven't been watching movies. To critique
well,
them.
I mean, maybe if you actually like, pick movie. Maybe if we pick movies that we know you'll like, maybe then you'll watch it.
We'll have to make Tay watch the Transformers. No, I'm kidding.
I'll say I don't. If it's Beetlejuice, I'm down. Or not Beetlejuice. Bumblebee.
Bumblebee?
I'm tired.
Well, you picked Bumblebee.
Hey, Dot. We're having a position opening up. Did you want to join?
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Have your people contact my people. We'll see if we work out.
All right, sounds good.
Oh man.
Well, speaking of Dot, thank you so much for coming on the show
Yes,
and
thank
talking
you.
with us. We really
Hey,
appreciate
thanks for
it.
having me. I appreciate that too.
Has to be one of our longest episodes yet.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
We got lost in the sauce.
we got lost in so much sauce.
You're
I
welcome, you're
drowned.
Got lost in college.
Yeah, let's not think about getting lost. I have enough nightmares about that. Forgetting my locker combination. Oh my gosh,
Oh yeah.
I still have nightmares about that.
The opposite of what we said to do. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Yes, have a great night. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with.
Grady Waffles.
Hey, Mation.
Ray of positivity.
And BADdotBROWN.
And this has been another episode of Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. So long.
Bye-bye. Happy
Bye.
New Year.
Bye. Enjoy your new year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one said fetch me their souls the whole time. From Call of Duty.
I don't play Call of Duty.
Fetch me their souls.
That's
it is.
originally from All Those Go to Heaven too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.